What's up guys, Dark Dally here, playing Red Dead Redemption 2 on PS4. The game just came out a couple of days ago, and if you're unsure about buying it, or if you're like me and haven't played a Red Dead game before and don't know if it's for you, here's 5 awesome, immersive elements of the game that'll really bring this Wild West sandbox game to life. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to talk about here is, well, here we are in one of the towns and it's nighttime. And the first thing I want to show you is actually some of the stuff you can do with the guns, and not only what you can do with the guns, but the gun store. But you can probably tell by my mini map, and if I walk up here, you can see it's closed. And this is really cool. The towns have a dynamic cycle of day and night, and it's very cool. The store's closed, no problem. Push one button. We'll wait till morning. It's going to open up right here for us. And I want to show you the gun shop. The gun modification in this game is so much more than just gun modification. It's like gun personalization, which I guess technically sounds like the same thing. Whoops, let's cross the street real quick here. And let's go into the gun shop and I shall show you.
So, what are you aiming for today?
Alright, so the first thing we can do is we can talk to the gunsmith. Now we can go ahead and just customize one of our current weapons.
You can hardly play.
And I'll go into this here in a moment. So let's back up. Let's talk to the gunsmith. The first thing I want to look at is the catalog. This catalog is incredible, and I showed it in my first gameplay video of Red Dead Redemption 2. Instead of just a menu, you get like a real, like, period correct, authentic catalog to flip through. And you can choose, you know, in the table of contents, let's just start with revolvers. So when you're shopping for weapons, this is what you actually see. And you can actually read all of this fun little flavor text, which Rockstar is always fond of putting stuff like this in their games, but I've never seen it to this degree. There is a bit of tongue-in-cheek and a bit of humor in this text, and these are fun to read. They're less informative, you know, and more comedic, but these are cool. These are really cool. It's like flipping through an old catalog from the early 20th century. It's very cool. Now, he is going to talk over me a little bit, and that is that. You can see there's a lot of guns I've not unlocked yet. Every gun I've unlocked I do own, so I've tried out quite a few of these, and it's more than just buying the rifle. And this is such a cool interface to do it on, because what I want to talk about here... Oh, before I do that, actually, there's one thing. Let's go back to the page we were on. If you don't want to read this and you do want a standard menu, you notice in the bottom right-hand corner, because I'm on PS4, I can hit square, and you can actually read it just like you could. So if you're bothered by the text, there's that. Let's go ahead back out of this and go back to where it said I could customize my guns. I showed this a little bit. I want to show it more in depth now. So let's go to customize. Again, I apologize for the gunsmith speaking over me here. Now my most customized and probably my favorite rifle for whatever reason is my varmint rifle. Why? It's not the one I use the most. I only use it for hunting varmints because it's a 22. It's not suited to shooting anything bigger than a fox. But I like it. I like varmint hunting in this game. And we'll talk about hunting. That's actually one of our points. We'll talk about that. That's number 4 I want to talk about, is how cool hunting is in this game. Anyway, that said, let's go ahead and select my varmint rifle. And now you can see I've customized this quite a bit. By default, it's going to come just gray and brown, you know, with a crappy stock and really nothing special at all. You can clean your weapon here, but I always keep my weapons clean. You can clean your weapons in the field. Let's have a look at all the stuff you can customize, and I'll show you the stuff I've customized here. Okay, first of all, components. Barrel. We can change, some weapons have variable barrel lengths, some have rifling, some have both. Here I've put the improved rifling, and it gives me increased range. So we have like basic modifications like this you can do to the weapons. Iron sights, I put improved iron sights on it. I also put a scope. It has scope and iron sights. The scope's off to the side, so I can use one or the other whenever I aim with it, and it's very cool. Stock, we can choose different wood grains for the stock here. Here we have the wrap. You notice I have a leather wrap there on the butt stock. It also comes forward on the handguard, but I picked some options somewhere to remove that. I forget, so I just have it on the butt stock, and I like that. All right, so let's go down here to styles. All right, this is where it gets crazy. This is where the real fun in weapon modification in Red Dead Redemption 2 comes into play. All right, so first of all, metals. What metal do you want your gun to be made out of? Oh, wait, there's a lot of complicated stuff here. I spent a lot of time really let's see. Yeah, you can look at my gun like this. I spent a lot of time really making this rifle look the way I wanted it to. My barrel is made out of iron. For bolt, I chose silver. For frame, I chose nickel. For hammer, it's iron. The sights are nickel, and the trigger is iron. A lot of thought went into that. It wasn't just willy-nilly. I wanted a certain look out of this gun. And if we go to something like right here, the frame, and we change the metal, you can see a huge difference. So I put a lot of thought into like how I wanted this to look. And I spent probably a couple $100 doing this. This stuff here does not improve performance. Not whatsoever. But it personalizes it and makes it your own. Engravings.
More bounty posters that go
here,
up, the more people flock to
what
my
you can
shop.
do is you
Plenty of
put
reason for that.
full
Valentine.
engraving. Like, see here, notice it engraves like everything. Let's zoom in. You can see it engraves the frame, the barrel, and all that stuff. And if you flip the rifle over, you'd see on the other side too. Well, what I did was I went ahead and let's back up and go back into it. You'll notice that I X'd out. I just wanted the engravings just on, you know, the frame, bolt, and
So,
barrel. I didn't
Wonder
want
Buzz to a bounty
like,
hunter last week.
or wherever I put it.
boy's
That guy
out
talking over
looking
me
to
is
get
really
someone,
starting to
that's for
distract me
sure.
now. I put the engravings on certain parts. It allows you to choose where you want to have it. And then inlay metals, the way my engraving stands out is because it's engraved in the nickel and the iron, and it's engraved with a certain other color of metal. It gets really in depth. Carvings here, you can have like stuff carved in your buttstock. I opted out of this because I have that really
For all the
sweet
bounties
little
running
leather
around
sleeve
New
over it.
Hanover, I'd be out of business.
And then here, the leather wrap, I can even change the kind of leather it's made out of. And let's just go down the list. Varnish, you guessed it, the varnish that the wood stock of your weapon is made out of. And this is going to be the same with like all of the weapons. At least all the ones that I've seen, all the weapons I own are just as customizable. I've only really bothered to customize my varmint rifle because I really like hunting in this game again. We'll talk about that here in a couple points. But for this is awesome. I mean, it all adds immersion, like into this world and into this Wild West game. You know, I would imagine that the average person would probably start by customizing the revolver because the revolver is the iconic cowboy weapon. I haven't yet because I'm waiting to upgrade my revolver. All right, guys. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next point. All right, and for the second thing, here we have the stables. Now, as far as I can see, you can own 4 horses. Of course, I'm not very far in the game, so it's possible maybe you could own more, but it's allowing me to own 4 horses, and you can keep them stabled, use different ones if you want. Let's go ahead and check out my horses here. There is a really cool factor here that I want to go into, and something that is not readily apparent. So, of course, every different kind of horse has different stats. Like here, you see this is my primary horse, Mud Pie, and she is a American Standard bred, which at the start of the game is a pretty darn good horse. This is my starting horse, who I never bothered to name, Tennessee Walker, and he has very basic stats. If you look here, he has very basic stats compared to, yeah, as you can see. And then down here we have, I named this one Gravel. Yeah, I know, real interesting, right? And then this is Mashed Taters. Now, notice how Mud Pie has her stats. She has stats in yellow. Okay, so that's one thing that I want to go into. Now, as you notice, Mud Pie, her name is grayed out. That's because she's not currently in the stable. I left her back in town or something. So we'll just go ahead and we're going to click, I'm on PS4, so we're going to click X for retrieve. Okay, so there we have her. Now I'm going to talk about these yellow bars. Now, when you come in here, so let's go to, let's just go ahead and select her and hit upgrade, tack. And when you're looking at these saddles, they don't tell prices. You just look at them. You're like, oh, that looks cool. Oh, that looks cool. You know, oh, this one looks cool. And then you click them and it's like $48. And then that's a lot of money in this game. You know, $50 is a lot of money. You know, you can buy a lot of stuff with that. That's a lot of money. And it's like, holy crap. It's like $50 for this saddle. You know, the improved version is, I forget why I own the improved. It's probably like $60 or $70. It gets really expensive really fast. You can spend hundreds of dollars, on tack and saddlery for your horse. Now, unlike the guns, like when I'm showing you the guns and how you can customize them, and it shows the advantage of every part, doesn't do that here. But notice when you mouse over, like right here, saddles, saddle bags, and it says, okay, right here, saddles. Higher quality saddles improve your horse's stamina core and health core drain rate while providing a stamina regen rate increase. These are not things that are like readily apparent, but if you, once all of this stuff is mounted, once you look at her bars, that's Mud Pie, that's my main horse, and see she has those yellow. If I switch the saddle to someone else, like if I switch the saddle over to Mashed Taters, he's my, is that a she? Actually, I forget, I think it's a she. That's my bad, it's a she. She's my second favorite. Her stats go way up. So what I'm saying is it is worth it, but you can spend a couple $100 on the tack and services here for your horses. But it's a very, very cool thing because not only does it allow you to visually customize your horse, like here we have Mud Pie, I have special stirrups, saddle, expanded saddle bags, all that stuff. Not only does it allow you to visually customize your horse, but those things right there add some pretty decent stats. And each breed of horse is going to have a certain amount that can be upgraded. Now, of course, also while you're there, you can change the appearance of your horse. Now, you can't change, like I can't change her color. She is the color she is. She's like chestnut, spotted chestnut, or whatever it's called. I can't change her color, but you can change their mane color and length. You can give them haircuts and tie their manes and stuff like that. So there's a lot behind horses, and that's not even scratching the surface with horses. Again, if you haven't played Red Dead Redemption, or I'm sorry, if you haven't played any of the Red Dead games like I haven't, a lot of this stuff is going to be new. There's a ton of stuff to do with horses in this game. I just wanted to hit on that little thing right there because that might turn some people off, that those saddles cost so much money. But trust me, it's worth it. But there's a lot more on horses. And if you've played these games, then you know that. And we can talk about that some other time. Okay, so for number 3, and these aren't really in any particular order. For number 3, we have a fun feature that's found in many similar games. But I got to say, I was surprised to see it here. And dang, it is fun. Since the game is made by Rockstar, you could accurately describe the game as Grand Theft Carriage. And well, guess what? Here in the Old West, they even have a carriage chop shop, so to speak. Your character is an outlaw after all, so it makes perfect sense. You unlock this feature fairly early on in the story by doing a quest for Hosea, and for some reason I just find this feature so fun. Money early on in the game doesn't exactly grow on trees, and I found that aside from the run-of-the-mill banditry and murder, stealing and then selling carriages is a pretty decent and a very fun way to make money. They seem to sell for largely random prices, though I do think that damage done to the vehicle may affect its sell price. That said, I've had carriages sell anywhere from $12 to $200. Yeah, I drove a carriage there and made a smooth 2 bills right there. That's a lot of money in this game, especially at only about a quarter of the way through the game. It was a carriage that was hauling logs. Now, I have not found another since to test to see if that was just RNG or if for some reason lumber really is just that valuable in the game, but rest assured you can make a pretty comfy living flipping carriages over at the chop shop. Okay, so for number 4, we have the hunting system. A lot of open world games now have options to hunt. Sometimes just as busy work to get mats to craft upgrades for your bags, and sometimes just as a mini game. But hunting in Red Dead Redemption 2 really does feel very fleshed out. Besides the staggering amount and variety of game here, there's considerations as to strategy and the weapon you want to use on them. Depending on your target, you may want to use a bow, or maybe a .22 rifle, or maybe something bigger, as there is everything here from rats and squirrels, all the way up to moose and bears to hunt. You can use items to mask your scent, as well as lures to bring out certain kinds of animals that you may be hunting. So far, my favorite hunting has been varmint hunting, and I love my .22 rifle, as I showed you earlier. Why small game? Because they're quick and they're skittish. There's a challenge to it. There's a lot of challenge in landing that bullet right where it needs to be on that squirrel 100 or so yards away before you or your horse scares him off, and you really only get that one shot. For me, this is the most fun way to hunt. However you choose to hunt, though, be sure to keep your horse in tow, as you will need it to haul back the skins and carcasses. So what I do is I make sure when I get off my horse and I'm hunting, I occasionally give him a whistle. If he's not following me, I give him a whistle here and there to keep him up behind me. Now, I've yet to fell any really big game, but as of right now, I can carry one small animal carcass on each side of the saddle and a medium animal slung over the back along with the pelts. I haven't yet seen a limit to the number of pelts that you can drape over the back of your horse, but rest assured they'll leave a nice bloody patch there after you remove them, just as carrying the carcasses gets you bloody as well, so keep yourself and your horse clean. I imagine that if the life of an outlaw wasn't for you, you could probably make quite the profession in Red Dead Redemption 2 just by hunting. Alright, the last thing I have for you guys today is maybe something small, but when I first saw it, it totally blew me away. This is the first game like this I've personally seen where trains are actually destructible. It may not seem like much, but having played so many games where trains are just moving blocks of death that annihilate everything in their way, it was so refreshing to huck a stick of dynamite at the locomotive and watch it burst into flames, slowly bringing everything to a halt. Now, I'll admit that I'm not so savvy with the game just yet as to try robbing a train by myself, but it sure is fun to throw some fire and watch them burn. Now, there was another bit of unexpected vehicular violence as well, and that came in the form of horses. This being the era that it is, I suppose that horses count as vehicles, right? And as such can get into some pretty spectacular wrecks, just like any car in a similar modern era game. I've had some gnarly ones where I just got to feel bad for the horse, to be honest, but there was a bit of dark comedy there in how realistically they wipe out. Although, if it's because you're being pursued and your horse is now running away from you, the comedy aspect may fall a bit short. That said, though, the horse collisions can be a little funny, and I will admit that. Just don't take it too far and start killing them, or you will end up with animal cruelty charges. I suppose that just makes sense. Alright, well that's it guys. I assure you there's scores of other aspects of this game that make it worth buying to the right gamer, and these were but 5 that stood out to me. But wow guys, what a fun game. I can't say whether it'll hold up in this new world of massively open games such as Rockstar's recent, GTA Online they've been running for the past however many years. I really don't know what they have planned for this one, but I have a feeling that I haven't even scratched the surface yet, to be quite honest. Guys, sure, there's criticisms that could be made, but I'll personally let the game age a bit, learn it a bit better before I start picking those apart. For now, this is really just a ton of fun, and in my opinion, that's everything a game needs to be worth it for me. Well, okay guys, so that's it for today. Stay tuned for more coming soon. Be sure to tell me what you think in the comments below and what things you like about the game or what things you don't like about the game. Guys, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dark Dally, and I'll catch you guys next time.